Can a world of constant distractions still offer profound meaning in your work?
Welcome to Bookish Mind, Season 10, Episode 03, as we journey into Chapter 3 of Cal Newport's insightful book, Deep Work. We're aiming to uncover why depth isn't just productive, but maybe essential for a truly good life. So this deep dive is really all about the meaning, the meaning we can find in our work, especially when that work is deep.
Yeah, it's a powerful
It
question.
really is. How can finding that kind of profound meaning in what you do every day professionally, how can that change not just your career, but, well, your whole life?
And Newport builds, I think, a really compelling case here. He doesn't just sort of state it abstractly. He
Right.
gives us three powerful arguments connecting deep work directly to a meaningful life. We're talking neurological, psychological, and even philosophical angles.
Right.
And we're going to unpack these because they're not just theories. They offer really practical insights into why that focused effort impacts our well-being so deeply. Absolutely. We've touched on the economic side before, haven't we? How deep work makes you more valuable.
Yes, in previous discussions.
But today we're going, well, deeper into the human resonance, that personal satisfaction you get from cultivating depth. And to really kind of set the scene, let's start with someone pretty remarkable, Ric Furrer.
Ah, the blacksmith.
Exactly. He specializes in ancient medieval metalworking techniques, works out of this converted barn in Wisconsin farm country.
Yeah, Newport paints a great picture. You can almost smell the forge, see the fields stretching out.
Totally. Open doors, heat pouring out. It sounds idyllic, but the work itself...
Oh, it's
I mean-
incredibly intense. There was this PBS documentary, I think back in 2012. It showed him trying to recreate a Viking-era sword.
A Viking sword. Serious?
Yeah, and get this. He starts by smelting his own crucible steel. That's like a 1,500-year-old technique.
Whoa.
The ingot he makes is tiny, like not much bigger than a couple of smartphones stacked up. Then comes the shaping. He calls the initial breakdown terrible.
I bet. How long does that take?
8 hours. Just hammering, methodically heating, hitting, turning, reheating. And he stresses you have to be very gentle with it or you will crack it.
Gentle.
Yeah.
With hammering steel for 8 hours.
Right. But then he says there's a shift. You have to nudge it. Slowly it breaks down. Then you start to enjoy it.
Okay. So after all that painstaking, focused work, what's the payoff? You mentioned a climax.
It's really dramatic, almost cinematic. He takes the red-hot blade, plunges it into this pipe full of oil to quench it.
Okay. Holding your breath moment.
Totally. Because cracking is common. But this time, relief, it doesn't crack. Then he pulls it out, and the heat ignites the oil. Poof. The sword is engulfed in yellow flames.
Oh, wow.
And he just holds this burning, flaming sword up. And the look on his face, it's sheer admiration, like a primal connection.
And his motivation, that's key, right?
Absolutely. He says, to do it right is the most complicated thing I know how to make. And it's that challenge that drives me. I don't need a sword,
Right.
but I have to make them.
I have to make them. That says it all.
It really does. It perfectly illustrates what Matthew Crawford talked about, those satisfactions of manifesting oneself concretely in the world through manual competence. Craftsmen like Furrer clearly find huge meaning in deep work.
That story just makes the connection so incredibly clear. Deep work, tangible skill, profound meaning. But, okay, if it's that obvious for a blacksmith, why does it get so, well, muddied for those of us in knowledge work? We don't have that burning sword moment at the end of our day, usually.
That really is the core challenge, isn't it? Newport points to two main issues. First, it's a problem of clarity.
Garrity.
Yeah. Unlike the blacksmith with his sword, knowledge work outcomes are often ambiguous. It can feel like a blandness, Newport calls it. Just an exhausting roil of emails and PowerPoint. Hard to differentiate one task from another sometimes.
Right. Everything feels kind of the same level of urgent or important.
Exactly. And Furrer himself even said, the world of information superhighways and cyberspace has left me rather cold and disenchanted. He feels that lack of tangibility too.
And the second issue, you mentioned too.
The second is societal pressure. Anything internet-related often gets labeled innovative or essential almost automatically.
Oh, yeah. Be responsive, be online, be active.
Right. Those death-destroying habits, instant email replies, constant social media, they're often praised, even expected.
Well,
Trying to avoid them can make you seem odd.
eccentric, yeah. Or not a team player. So if it's so ingrained and we don't have that burning sword payoff, I mean, is it actually realistic to expect that same level of meaning from knowledge work? Is Newport maybe pushing it a bit too far for us modern professionals?
That's a really fair question. And Newport isn't blind to these pressures. His whole argument is that despite these challenges, that human need for meaning through depth persists. And crucially, it can still be accessed.
Even with the emails and the meetings.
Even then. Look, nobody expects a blacksmith to be checking Twitter all day.
It's true.
But for a knowledge worker, it often feels like part of the job description.
Yeah.
A virtue, even. But this chapter argues that connection between depth and meaning is absolutely there for us, even if it's less obvious. Deep work can generate just as much satisfaction in the information economy as it does in a craft economy. And to prove it, he brings in these three lenses.
Okay, the neurological, psychological, and philosophical. Let's start with the brain, the neurological case. How does attention build our world?
This part leans heavily on the science writer Winifred Gallagher. She had this kind of terrifying personal experience, a serious cancer diagnosis.
Right.
And leaving the hospital, she had this powerful intuition. She thought, this disease wanted to monopolize my attention, but as much as possible, I would focus on my life instead.
Wow. That takes incredible strength. So what happened? What did she discover doing that?
What she found was really counterintuitive. The treatment was brutal, exhausting. But because she committed to focusing on the positive things, movies, walks, enjoying a martini at 6:30.
The martini sounds good.
Yeah. Her life, subjectively, became often quite pleasant, despite the objectively awful circumstances.
Pleasant? During cancer treatment.
Exactly. You'd expect fear, maybe pity, to just dominate. But her chosen focus literally shifted her experience. It led her to what she calls a grand unified theory of the mind.
Okay, what's the theory?
Basically, who you are, what you think, feel, and do, what you love, is the sum of what you focus on.
Ooh! Okay, unpack that.
It flips our usual thinking.
Yeah.
We tend to believe our circumstances dictate how we feel. She argues no, our brains actively construct our worldview based on what we choose to pay attention to.
That is really powerful. It reminds me of Barbara Fredrickson's work on cognitive appraisal, how reframing things, focusing differently after something negative can genuinely change your mood.
Precisely. Or think about Laura Carstenson's fMRI studies. She found elderly subjects had effectively rewired their brains to ignore the negative and savor the positive.
And they were happier for it, right, without their actual situation changing.
Yeah, exactly. So the connection to deep work is this. If your world, your subjective reality, is built on what you focus on, then dedicating chunks of time to deep, meaningful endeavors literally creates a mental world that feels rich in meaning and importance.
So it's not just doing meaningful work, it's the focus on it that shapes the experience.
Yes. And there's another key benefit, maybe a bit hidden, intense concentration, the kind deep work requires. It sort of hijacks your attention apparatus.
Hijacks it? How?
It prevents you from noticing all the many smaller and less pleasant things that inevitably pop up.
Yeah.
You have the little annoyances, the background worries. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi observed this too. Concentration so intense, there is no attention left over to think about anything irrelevant.
So you're too absorbed in the deep task to notice the shallow noise. That makes sense, especially in knowledge work, which Newport calls that devastatingly appealing buffet of distraction.
Totally. It's always there.
I sometimes feel like my inbox has its own gravitational pull. Newport uses his own example, right? 5 emails he got before writing.
Yeah, it was a mix of everything. Angry scam replies, stressful retirement planning stuff, annoying meeting scheduling, even some office politics. Just, ugh.
The usual suspects. So how do we fight that pull? Knowing it's bad isn't always enough.
Well, Gallagher's research gives us a strong motivator. If you spend your day constantly dipping into those shallow concerns and checking email frequently ensures they stay top of mind, your brain starts to construct a working life, dominated by stress, irritation, frustration, and triviality.
Ouch. So the world of your inbox.
Yeah.
It's just not a nice place to live mentally.
Pretty much. It ties into Gallagher's warning. The idle mind is the devil's workshop. Lose focus. And where does the mind often go? To what's wrong, what's worrying.
Right.
So, neurologically speaking, a workday driven by shallowness is likely to feel draining and upsetting, even if the individual tasks seem minor. Embracing deep work, then, is leveraging your own brain to maximize meaning and satisfaction.
Okay, that makes a very strong case from the brain's perspective. That brings us nicely to the second argument, the psychological case, focusing on flow.
Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi.
Right, a giant in psychology.
Yeah.
And his work with Reed Larson back in the 80s, using that experience sampling method, ESM, giving people pagers, seems quaint now.
Oh, yeah. but revolutionary then. The pages would beep randomly, and people had to immediately write down what they were doing and how they felt. It gave much more accurate, in-the-moment data.
So what did the beepers reveal? What was the big surprise about work versus relaxing?
The really startling finding, empirically, was that people reported being happier at work and less happy relaxing.
Wait, happier at work than when they were relaxing? That seems backward.
It does, doesn't it? We chase the weekends, the downtime. But the data showed work often provided more moments of genuine joy. The why comes down to his definition of flow.
Okay, refresh us on flow.
Flow is when a person's body or mind is stretched to its limits in a voluntary effort to accomplish something difficult and worthwhile. It's that state of deep immersion, you lose track of time, the challenge matches your skill, you're totally absorbed. And jobs, he argued, are actually easier to enjoy than free time. Why? Because they usually have built-in goals, feedback, rules, challenges, all things that encourage you to get involved, concentrate, lose yourself in it.
Whereas free time...
It's unstructured. It actually requires more effort from us to shape it into something enjoyable, something flow-like. And the punchline, the more flow experiences people reported in a week, the higher their overall life satisfaction.
Okay, so let's compare this to Gallagher. Both point towards depth being good. But Gallagher was more about the content of your attention, right?
Yeah.
Focusing on the positive, the meaningful.
Exactly.
Csikszentmihalyi seems to be saying it's the feeling of going deep itself, the absorption, the challenge that's rewarding, almost regardless of the specific topic. The mind just likes being stretched.
That's a great way to put it. Deep work is almost perfectly designed to induce flow. The descriptions overlap so much, stretching your mind, concentrating, losing yourself. And if flow generates happiness and makes life feel worthwhile, well, the connection is clear.
So the takeaway for us, the individual listener,
It's profound. Sure, companies can try to redesign jobs to be more flow-friendly, but it's arguably even more crucial for you to actively learn how to find and create flow opportunities within your own work.
taking ownership of it.
Yes, building your working life around the experience of flow that deep work produces. Newport says that's a proven path to deep satisfaction.
Neurological, psychological.
Ah.
Okay, let's hit the third angle, the philosophical case for depth. This involves Hubert Dreyfus and Sean Dorrance Kelly.
Right, authors of All Things Shining. They take a much broader historical view, looking at how concepts like sacredness and meaning have changed over time. And they're a bit worried about where we've ended up.
Worried how?
Their observation is that in our modern secular world, the shining things now seem far away.
The shining things. Meaning. Purpose.
Yeah, those sources of profound meaning.
Yeah.
Their theory, basically, is that the Enlightenment, for all its benefits in freeing the individual, also kind of stripped the world of a pre-existing sense of order and sacredness that used to provide meaning. And this, they argue, has led to a kind of creeping nihilism, where meaning feels arbitrary, like something we just have to invent for ourselves. They even say the embrace of the autonomous individual leads not just to a boring life, it leads almost inevitably to a nearly unlivable one. Strong words.
Very strong. So if the modern world makes meaning elusive, what's their solution? Does it connect back to our craftsmen?
It absolutely does. It circles right back. These are the example of a master wheelwright. Someone shaping wooden wagon wheels, a lost art now.
Okay.
This craftsman, they explain, develops an intimate relationship with the wood he works. He learns to cultivate its subtle virtues. He's not just imposing his will, he's working with the material.
Interesting. So what's the philosophical nugget there?
The core insight is this. The craftsman's job is not to generate meaning, but rather to cultivate in himself the skill of discerning the meanings that are already there.
Whoa. Okay. Discerning meaning, not creating it.
Exactly. This frees the craftsman from that burden of individualism, that need to invent meaning from scratch. It provides an ordered world where meaning is inherent in the skill, in the material, in the process. Ric Furrer's obvious satisfaction forging that sword. Dreyfus and Kelly would probably call that a glimpse of the sacred.
That's a beautiful idea, discerning meaning that's already present. But again, how does this work for knowledge workers? We're not shaping wood or steel.
That's the crucial question Newport tackles. He makes two key observations. First, this isn't just for manual trades.
Right.
Any pursuit, physical or cognitive, that supports developing really high skill levels can generate this sense of sacredness, this connection to inherent meaning. He gives the example of programmer Santiago Gonzalez talking about beautiful code like it's poetry.
Ah, okay. Craftsmanship in coding.
Right. Or the book, The Pragmatic Programmer, quoting that medieval quarry worker.
Yeah.
We who cut mere stones must always be envisioning cathedrals. That applies just as much to someone crafting code or a legal argument or a business strategy.
So it really pushes back against the idea that my job is too boring or it's just emails.
Totally. It debunks that myth. It's not about finding your one true passion or having the perfect job title. As Newport puts it, a wooden wheel is not noble, but its shaping can be. The meaning comes from the approach, the skill, the appreciation. You don't need a rarefied job. You need a rarefied approach to your work.
A rarefied approach. I like that. And the second observation.
The second observation connects it all back. Craftsmanship, whether it's with wood or words or code, absolutely requires deep work.
Ah, okay. Can't get good without focus.
You can't hone those skills, apply them at that elite level, discern those subtle meanings without intense, sustained, deep effort. It's the prerequisite for craftsmanship.
So deep work isn't just productive, it's the gateway to this philosophical sense of meaning through skill.
That's the argument. Embracing deep work, directing it towards cultivating your skill, whatever that skill may be, transforms knowledge work. It stops being just a distracted, draining obligation and becomes something genuinely satisfying, a portal, Newport says, to a world full of shining, wondrous things.
Wow. Okay, so pulling it all together, what's the big takeaway for you listening right now?
Well, whether you look at it neurologically, how your attention literally shapes your reality, or psychologically tapping into that powerful state of flow, or even philosophically discerning inherent meaning through the cultivation of skill, like a craftsman. All these different paths, they all lead back to the same place.
Which is?
A fundamental, undeniable connection between depth and meaning, between deep work and a life well lived.
It's almost like Newport suggesting Homo sapiens depensis.
Yeah.
A species evolved to thrive in depth and, well, kind of suffer in constant shallowness.
That's a great way to think about it. It really brings us back full circle to Winifred Gallagher's simple but profound conclusion after her ordeal.
Say it again.
I'll live the focused life because it's the best kind there is.
That really does capture the essence of this whole chapter, doesn't it? A deep life is a good life.
It seems to be, yeah. It's about finding that profoundness within the practicalities of work.
So here's a thought to leave you with. Considering everything we've talked about today, the brain, flow, craftsmanship, how might you begin to cultivate more of that rarefied approach in your own work this week, even just a little bit? And what unexpected meaning might you discover there simply by choosing to go deeper?